The rain fell hard against the windows, filling the night with a restless sound. Adam carried his suitcase into the old apartment building, his shoes wet from the storm outside. He had finally found a cheap place to stay near the university. The ad had said, "shared apartment." That part did not bother him. What bothered him was the silence in the hallway, as if the building itself did not want to welcome him. The door creaked when he pushed it open. Inside, the apartment smelled faintly of something strange. Not food, not dust, something he could not describe. He dropped his bag near the couch and looked around. One bedroom door was closed. That must be the roommates. From behind the door, he heard a sound. A soft, low hum, almost like someone whispering in another language. He frowned and knocked lightly. No answer. Adam sighed and decided not to disturb whoever was inside. He unpacked slowly, listening to the hum that faded after a few minutes. Later that night, he met his roommate. The door opened suddenly, and a tall figure stepped out. His skin was pale, almost too pale, as if he never saw sunlight. His eyes looked normal, yet when the hallway light touched them, they reflected with a faint glow, like an animal in the dark. Hey, Adam said, forcing a smile. "I'm Adam, just moved in." The stranger nodded, his voice was quiet and low. "I am Cale." Adam noticed he spoke strangely, like he had learned English from a book, but never practiced it much. "Well, nice to meet you," Adam said, though he felt a small chill. Kyle tilted his head, studying Adam for a long moment, before walking toward the kitchen. He moved gracefully, too smoothly for an ordinary man. Adam wanted to ask where he was from, but something told him not to. That night, as Adam lay in bed, he could not sleep. A strange sound came from Cale's room again. It was not humming this time. It was a deep vibration, like electricity moving through wires. Then a faint light glowed from under the door, blue and sharp, flickering like lightning. Adam sat up. His heart beat faster. He whispered to himself, "What is he doing in there?" He almost stood to check, but then the sound stopped. The light vanished. Silence filled the air. The next morning, Kyle sat at the table reading a book. Adam looked closer. The pages were filled with symbols, not letters. Strange, twisting shapes that seemed alive on the paper. "Is that another language?" Adam asked carefully. Kyle closed the book quickly. "It is nothing." Adam forced a laugh. "Looks like nothing I've seen before." Kyle's glowing eyes lifted to him. For a moment, Adam felt pinned in place, like those eyes could see every thought inside his head. Then Kyle looked away and returned to his book. Days passed, and Adam noticed more things. Kyle barely ate. He avoided daylight, closing the curtains tightly. Sometimes, late at night, Adam woke to footsteps in the hallway, though Cale's door never seemed to open. Once, when Adam entered the bathroom, he saw faint scorch marks on the tiles, as if fire had touched them. One evening, Adam gathered the courage to ask, "So where are you from?" Kyle looked at him silently. His voice came slow. "Far away. You would not know the place." "Try me." Kyle's lips curved into a strange smile. "You would not believe me if I told you." Adam felt a shiver but laughed nervously. "Guess you're full of secrets, huh?" Kyle leaned closer, his glowing eyes sharp. "Some secrets are safer kept." The words echoed in Adam's mind long after Kale left the room. The storm returned a few nights later. Rain pounded the building and thunder shook the glass. Adam sat awake, trying to study, when the humming started again, louder this time. He stood, his curiosity stronger than his fear, and crept toward Cale's door. The blue light pulsed from beneath it, brighter, stronger. He pressed his ear to the wood. Inside, he heard Cale's voice, speaking fast in that unknown language. The hum grew deeper, vibrating through the floor. Suddenly the door handle turned. Adam jumped back just as the door opened. Kyle stood there, his skin glowing faintly, veins shining with blue fire beneath the surface. His eyes blazed brighter than before. He stared at Adam in silence. Adam's voice trembled. What are you?" Kale's chest rose and fell, his breathing heavy. Then slowly the glow faded. He pulled the door halfway closed and whispered, "Do not ask questions you do not want answered." The door shut with a soft click, leaving Adam frozen in the hallway. That night, Adam could not sleep. Every sound made him flinch. Every shadow felt alive. He thought about leaving, packing his things and running, but something inside him wanted to know more. Why did Kale glow? Why did the air vibrate with energy around him? And what was he hiding in that locked room? As dawn broke, Adam finally drifted to sleep, though unease stayed heavy in his chest. He knew one thing for certain. His new roommate was not human, and whatever Kyle was, Adam was now living in the middle of his secret. The week passed slowly, but Adam's unease never left. Kyle remained quiet, always staying in his room, except for short moments in the kitchen. Adam tried to act normal, yet every time those glowing eyes looked at him, he felt like prey being studied by a predator. One evening, the air inside the apartment changed. At first it was subtle. The room felt warmer than usual. Adam opened the window, but even with cold rain outside, the air stayed heavy and hot. He wiped sweat from his forehead. "Is the heater broken?" Adam muttered. Then he heard it, the low hum again. This time it came not just from Kyle's room, but from the very walls. The lights flickered. The fridge buzzed. Something unnatural was building. Adam stood outside Kale's door and knocked. "Hey, Kale, are you okay in there?" For a long moment there was no answer. Then a voice, rough and strained, came from the other side. "Stay away." Adam froze. "What do you mean? Is something wrong?" The voice was sharper now, almost a growl. "Do not open this door. Do not come near me." Adam stepped back, slowly. His heart pounded. What could be happening inside that room? Later that night, Adam tried to sleep, but the apartment kept shaking. With strange noises, a thud echoed against the wall, then another, as if furniture was being thrown. The temperature kept climbing until Adam had to strip his blanket away. He whispered into the dark, "This is not normal." A sudden crash came from Kyle's room. Adam jumped from his bed, staring at the door. The blue glow returned, brighter than ever, spilling into the hallway like firelight. "Kale," Adam called, his voice shaky, "I think you need help." The door rattled violently but did not open. Kale's voice came through, deep and distorted. "Leave this place. Leave. Now, I can't just go." The force in that single word shook the air, making the light bulb above Adam's head burst with a pop. Glass rained down. He stumbled back, his chest tight with fear. But outside, the storm had grown worse. The sound of wind howled through the streets. Adam tried the front door, but the lock was jammed. He pulled hard, but it would not open. The storm outside seemed almost alive, pressing against the walls, keeping him trapped inside with his dangerous roommate. Hours passed in tension. The humming rose and fell like waves. Adam sat near the couch, staring at Kyle's closed door. Then, all at once, silence. The quiet was worse than the noise. Slowly, the door opened. Kyle stepped out, his skin shining faintly as if fire burned. Beneath it, sweat poured from his face, but his eyes blazed brighter than ever. He leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "Stay back," Kyle said, his voice broken. Adam raised his hands. Okay, I'll stay back. Just tell me what's happening." Kyle shook his head. "It is starting, the cycle. I cannot stop it." Adam swallowed hard. "Cycle? What does that mean?" Kyle's hand trembled against the wall. Every few moons, my body changes. Heat builds inside me. It breaks things, hurts people. You should not be here. A table nearby rattled and lifted slightly into the air before crashing down. Adam gasped. You're doing that? Kyle shut his glowing eyes, gritting his teeth, not by choice. Adam felt the air vibrate, the walls creaked, the glass window cracked again. He stepped back, but the heat only grew stronger. Sweat stung. His eyes? You're going to burn the place down, Adam shouted. Kyle's chest heaved. I warned you, don't come near me. Adam turned toward the front door again, pulling at the lock with all his strength. Still stuck. He ran to the balcony door, but the storm outside had thrown debris against it. No escape. When he turned back, Kyle was on his knees, glowing veins crawling across his arms, the light inside him pulsing like fire ready to burst. Kyle, Adam whispered, panic in his throat. You're scaring me. Kyle looked up slowly, his eyes blazing like twin suns. You should be scared. The words hung heavy in the hot air. Then Kyle slammed his fist against the wall. The plaster cracked. The entire apartment shook. Adam stumbled backward. His mind screamed at him to run, but there was nowhere left to go. He was trapped in the apartment, with something that was no longer human. The hum grew again, louder and deeper, until the very floor vibrated beneath Adam's feet. Every light in the apartment flickered wildly, sparks flying from the sockets. Kyle shouted, clutching his head, "Stay away from me!" And then, sudden silence. Kyle collapsed onto the floor, his glow dimming but not gone. He lay trembling, his breath heavy, sweat dripping onto the tiles. Adam stood frozen, his heart beating so fast it hurt. The apartment was hot as fire, the walls cracked, the lights destroyed. Yet Kyle still lay there, alive, fighting something inside him. Finally Kyle whispered, his voice weak, "This is only the beginning." Adam's blood ran cold. If this was only the beginning, what would the rest of the cycle bring? He knew one thing. He was not safe at all. The storm outside raged through the night, hammering the building with violent winds and heavy rain. Adam sat by the front door, pulling at the lock again and again, but it refused to move. His palms were raw from trying. He pressed his forehead against the wood, whispering, "Come on, open, please open," but it didn't. He was trapped. Behind him, Kyle lay on the floor, glowing faintly. His chest rose and fell with sharp, broken breaths. Adam didn't dare go closer, yet he couldn't. Look away. The blue light pulsed from Kyle's skin, brighter with each exhale. "Kyle," Adam said softly, "you need help. I can't leave. The door's stuck. We're both trapped in here." Kyle opened his eyes slowly. The glow inside them had dimmed, but the heat in the room remained unbearable. His voice was hoarse, cracked like burning wood. "Then you must keep your distance. My heat is growing. If you come too near, I cannot stop what happens." Adam licked his dry lips. "So what? I just sit here and wait for you to explode?" Kyle managed a weak smile. "Something like that." Adam wanted to laugh, but fear made his throat tight. He backed toward the couch, watching as Kyle struggled to push himself up. The alien's hands trembled as he leaned on the wall. "You're not human, are you?" Adam whispered. Kyle didn't answer. Instead, a lamp beside him shook violently, then burst into sparks. Adam jumped, his eyes wide. "Please," Kyle muttered. "Do not make me lose control." The apartment shook again as thunder crashed outside. The storm battered the glass so hard Adam thought it would break. He stared at the locked door. If only it would open. But no. It was as if the storm itself was keeping him here. Adam turned back to Kyle. "What is happening to you? Why now?" Kyle pressed a hand to his chest, breathing through clenched teeth. "Every cycle, the heat rises. My body fills with energy. If it is not released, it destroys everything near me." Adam's mouth went dry. "How do you release it?" Kyle's glowing eyes flicked to him, pained and sharp. "You do not want to know." Adam shivered. The walls creaked under another wave of pressure. Pictures slid off their hooks and shattered on the ground. The temperature rose higher still. "This is insane," Adam muttered. "I'm going to burn alive in here." Cale groaned, gripping the wall so hard the plaster cracked beneath his fingers. His voice dropped to a guttural whisper. "Then stay away from me, Adam. Stay far away." But there was nowhere left to go. Every corner of the apartment pulsed with Cale's heat. The storm outside blocked every exit. Adam's heart hammered as he realized he had no choice. Whatever happened tonight, he would face it in this apartment. With Cale, the power suddenly cut. Darkness swallowed the room, except for Cale's glow. He stood in the blackness, blue fire pulsing through his veins, his outline sharp against the shadows. Adam whispered into the dark, "Cale, are you still in control?" There was no answer. Instead, a chair lifted slowly from the floor and slammed into the wall. Another piece of furniture slid across the tiles. Adam ducked behind the couch, covering his head. "Kyle!" he shouted. "You're going to kill us both." Finally, Kyle's voice came, strained but clear. I am still here, but I do not know for how long." Adam peeked over the couch. Kyle's body shook as if fighting an invisible force. Sparks flickered around him. His skin looked ready to split with light. "You're tearing this place apart," Adam said. "You need to fight it." Kyle laughed bitterly, his eyes glowing like twin flames. "Fight nature itself? That is impossible." Another wave of heat filled the room. Adam gasped, sweat running down his face, his vision blurred. He stumbled forward, desperate for air. Kyle groaned, falling to his knees again. "Stay away!" But Adam didn't listen. Something inside him, maybe madness, maybe courage, made him step closer. He crouched just a few feet away, staring into those burning eyes. "You're not alone," Adam said firmly. "You don't have to lose control." Kyle looked at him in shock, as if no one had ever spoken those words before. The glow flickered, dimmed for a moment, then surged again. The floor cracked beneath them. A bookshelf toppled, nearly crushing Adam. He jumped aside, panting. Kyle roared, the sound echoing like thunder. His glow burst brighter, filling the room with blinding blue light. Adam shielded his eyes, heart pounding so hard it hurt, and then, just as suddenly, the light shrank back. Kyle collapsed, falling against the wall, his chest heaving. The glow dimmed to a faint shimmer. Silence fell again, broken only by the storm outside. Adam sank to the floor, shaking, his lungs burning from the heat. He stared at Kyle, who looked more exhausted than dangerous now. Did it stop?" Adam asked weakly. Kyle closed his eyes. "Not yet. This was only the wave before the storm. The true heat is still coming." Adam's stomach dropped. "You mean it gets worse?" Kyle gave the smallest nod. His voice was almost a whisper. "Much worse." Adam leaned back against the broken couch, staring at the ceiling. His whole body ached, but his mind was sharper than ever. He realized the truth. He wasn't just trapped with his alien roommate. He was trapped with a living storm, one that could tear the world apart if it lost control, and there was no way out. The storm outside refused to end. The windows rattled, and the air inside the apartment stayed heavy with heat. Adam sat on the floor, too exhausted to move. Kyle leaned against the wall, his skin glowing faintly, his chest rising and falling with painful effort. For a long time, neither spoke. The silence was heavy, broken only by the sound of wind outside. Finally, Adam whispered, "Tell me what's happening to you. No more secrets." Kyle opened his eyes slowly. The glow inside them was weaker, but still sharp enough to make Adam's stomach twist. "You would not understand." "Then make me understand," Adam pressed, "because if I don't, I'm dead in here with you." Cale's head lowered, his voice quiet. "My people are not like humans. Every cycle our bodies burn with energy. It is not just heat. It is instinct, rage, violence. We fight it, but most of us fail. That is why my kind hides." Adam swallowed hard. "So you're telling me this It's natural? Yes. Kyle's hands trembled as he spoke. When the cycle comes, it tears through the body. It changes us into something dangerous. The walls cannot hold it. The fire cannot be stopped. And anyone near us... He stopped, his voice breaking. Anyone near us suffers. Adam felt a chill, despite the suffocating heat. He remembered the way furniture had flown across the room, the way Kyle's glow had cracked the walls. That's why you told me to leave. Kyle gave a small nod. I did not want your blood on my hands. The words hit Adam harder than he expected. Kyle had warned him again and again, yet now they were trapped together. Another crack split. The ceiling. Dust fell around them. Adam coughed, waving it away. This place won't survive another outburst. Kyle closed his glowing eyes. Neither will you. The heat pulsed again, rising in waves. Kyle doubled over, clutching his chest. His skin blazed brighter, veins glowing like fire under glass. The hum returned, deeper, heavier, shaking the apartment. Adam scrambled back. It's starting again! Kyle groaned, his voice warping. Stay away! But Adam couldn't look away. He watched as Kyle's body shook violently, his fists slamming the floor hard enough to crack tiles. Sparks leapt from the broken lamp. The air shimmered with heat, bending the edges of the room. Kyle, fight it, Adam shouted. Kyle's glowing eyes snapped open, burning with fury. You think I have not tried? His voice thundered, not entirely his own. This is not something I can stop. This is what I am. A sudden blast of heat sent Adam crashing into the wall. He coughed, gasping for air, his skin burning from the wave. His mind screamed at him to stay down, but his body moved anyway. He pushed himself to his feet, staring at Kyle, who now looked less like a man and more like a living inferno. Listen to me, Adam yelled, forcing his voice through the noise. You are not just this heat. You are more than that. You're fighting it right now. I can see it. Kyle's chest heaved. His glow flickered. For a moment, Adam thought he had reached him. Then the bookshelf beside Kyle exploded into pieces, wood flying in every direction. Adam ducked, barely avoiding a sharp shard. Kyle roared, clutching his head. I cannot control it. Adam's heart pounded, but he stepped closer anyway. Then let me help you. The words cut through the chaos. Kyle froze, his eyes widening. The glow flickered again, unstable. Help me. You cannot even survive me. Adam's voice shook, but he stood firm. Maybe, but I'm still here, aren't I? If you were nothing but a monster, I'd already be dead. Kyle stared at him. His body trembled violently, his glow dimming and flaring like a storm trapped inside. He pressed his hand against the wall, leaving black scorch marks on the plaster. His voice came low, trembling. You do not understand. If you stay close, I could kill you without meaning to. Then trust yourself, Adam said. Trust me. You don't have to face this alone. The room held its breath. For a moment, everything stopped. The hum, the rattling walls, even the storm outside seemed distant. Kyle's eyes locked on Adam's, searching for something, some anchor to hold on to. Then the heat surged again, stronger than before. Kyle screamed, falling to his knees as the light burst from his body. The floor shook violently, cracks spreading across the walls. Adam was thrown back, but he crawled forward anyway, refusing to give in to fear. Kyle! He shouted, his voice breaking. Don't let it win. Kyle's hands slammed into the floor. Blue fire spread across the tiles, racing toward Adam. He froze as the heat licked around him, hot enough to burn but not touching. Kyle's entire body shook as if he were holding it back with everything he had. His voice came ragged. I can't hold it. Adam leaned closer, his voice desperate. Yes, you can, because if you couldn't, I'd already be gone. You're stronger than this. Kyle roared again, but this time the fire shrank back. The glow dimmed, collapsing inward, until only faint lines of light pulsed beneath his skin. He slumped forward, gasping for breath. Silence returned. The storm outside still raged, but inside, the apartment was still. Adam crawled to Kyle's side. His hand hovered over his shoulder, but didn't touch. Are you okay? Kyle didn't look at him. His eyes were half closed, his body trembling. I am alive. But the cycle is not finished. This was only a part of it. The worst is still to come. Adam sat back, his chest heavy with fear. If this wasn't the worst, then what was waiting for them? He looked at Kyle, who now seemed more fragile than terrifying, and whispered, "Then we'll face it together." Kyle's glowing eyes met his. For the first time, there was something in them other than fire. Something almost human. But the hum in the walls returned, faint and growing. The struggle was not over. Not yet. The night dragged on without rest. The storm outside showed no mercy, and the apartment felt more like a furnace with every passing hour. Adam sat with his back against the cracked wall, his shirt soaked in sweat. His body trembled with exhaustion, but his eyes stayed fixed on Kyle. Kyle knelt on the floor, his head lowered, his body glowing faintly, as though fire lived under his skin. Every breath he took came with a growl, every exhale hotter than the air around them. "Kyle," Adam said, carefully, his voice breaking the silence. "How much longer will this last?" Kyle didn't lift his head. "Until the cycle ends, or until I lose control, whichever comes first." The words cut deep. Adam leaned forward. "You've been fighting it this long. You can keep fighting." Kyle gave a bitter laugh, though his voice shook. "Do you know what my kind becomes during heat? Beasts. We burn cities. We crush everything near us. And here you are, trapped with me in a room I can barely keep from destroying." Adam's throat tightened. "Then prove you're different. Prove you can control it." Kyle lifted his head slowly, his glowing eyes locking on Adam. They weren't just glowing now. They were blazing. For a second, Adam swore he saw fire swirl inside them, alive and hungry. The air shifted. A table behind Kyle rattled, then flew into the wall with a deafening crash. Adam flinched. "Kyle, stop!" But Kyle wasn't stopping. His body shook violently, energy surging through him. Like a storm ready to break free. The ground trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. "Get away from me!" Kyle roared, his voice deep and layered, no longer fully human. Adam stood frozen, his heart hammering. The room seemed to shrink as Kyle's power grew, blue flames flickering across his arms. Heat slammed against Adam like waves, pushing him. "Back!" Kyle's voice came again, strained and desperate. "If you stay close, I will kill you." Adam's chest tightened, but instead of running, he stepped forward. "No, you won't." Kyle's eyes widened, the glow flickering for a moment. "You fool. You think I can choose? You think this power listens to me?" "Maybe not," Adam said, his voice trembling, "but I've seen you fight it. If you wanted me dead, I'd be gone already." Kyle roared, the sound so loud the windows shook. A chair flew across the room, smashing into the wall inches from Adam's head. Adam ducked, his heart nearly stopping. "Kyle!" Adam shouted. "Listen to me. I don't care what you think you are. You're not a beast. You're my roommate, and I know you can hold on." For a heartbeat, everything paused. Kyle's body trembled. His glowing eyes locked on Adam with a strange, broken look. But then the heat surged again, stronger than ever. The couch lifted off the ground and slammed down. The floor cracked beneath Kyle's hands. A wave of fire-like energy burst outward, throwing Adam back against the wall. He hit hard, pain shooting through his ribs. He gasped, forcing himself up despite the pain. Kyle's body now glowed so bright it hurt to look at him. His voice thundered, shaking the walls. "I cannot hold it. Run before it is too late." But Adam saw something in his expression, behind the fury, behind the fire. Kyle's eyes were filled with fear, not fear of the heat, fear of hurting Adam. Adam's voice cracked, but he shouted anyway. "Then hold on for me." The light flared, blinding. For one terrifying moment, Adam thought Kyle had finally lost control. The walls shook violently, the glass windows shattered, spraying shards across the floor. Heat roared through the apartment, searing Adam's skin, and then silence. The light faded slowly, shrinking until Cale collapsed forward, his body hitting the floor with a heavy thud. His skin still glowed faintly, but the violent waves of energy had stopped. Adam crawled toward him, his hands shaking. "Kyle! Hey, Kyle, talk to me!" Kyle groaned weakly, his face pale under the glow. "I almost lost it." Adam let out a shaky laugh, half relief, half disbelief. "No kidding. You nearly blew the whole place apart." Kyle's glowing eyes fluttered open. "Why didn't you run?" Adam shook his head. "Because if I did, you'd be gone. You needed someone to pull you back." Kyle stared at him for a long moment. His breathing slowed, his glow fading bit by bit. "You are either very brave or very stupid." Adam gave a tired smile. "Maybe both." They sat in silence for a while, the storm outside raging as if echoing the chaos inside. The apartment was wrecked, broken furniture, shattered glass, cracked walls, but somehow they were both alive. Kyle leaned his head back against the wall, his eyes closing again. "The cycle is not over. That was only the second wave. The last one will come before dawn." Adam felt his stomach sink. "The last one?" "Yes," Kyle whispered. "And it will be stronger than anything you have seen." Adam looked around the broken apartment, his chest tightening with dread. If what he had just seen wasn't the worst, then the final wave would destroy everything. But as he looked back at Kyle, exhausted, trembling, yet still fighting, Adam made a choice. He wasn't going to run. Not now. Not when Kyle was still trying. He sat down beside him, close enough to show he wasn't afraid. "Then we'll face the last wave together." Kyle opened his glowing eyes, staring at him in silence. For a moment, the fire inside them dimmed, replaced by something else, something almost human. Outside, thunder crashed again, shaking the windows. The night was far from over, and the worst was still to come. The storm outside was relentless, but the real storm lived inside the broken apartment. Shattered glass glistened across the floor like ice, furniture lay in ruins, and the air still pulsed with leftover heat. Adam sat near Kyle, both too exhausted to move, yet both knowing the night was not finished. Kyle's glow flickered faintly, like dying embers in a fire pit. His breathing was heavy, and his hands trembled against the cracked floor. Adam leaned closer. "You said there's one more wave. When?" Kyle's voice was low, rough, as if speaking took effort. "Before dawn. The last wave is always the worst. If I fail, then nothing will survive." Adam swallowed hard. The thought of more destruction after what they had just faced made his chest tighten. "Then don't fail." Kyle laughed weakly, the sound bitter. "You think it's that easy? You saw me nearly burn this place to ashes." "I also saw you stop," Adam shot back. "You held it back because you wanted to. That means you can do it again." Kyle's glowing eyes opened, staring at Adam with a mixture of fear and wonder. "Why do you trust me this much? Humans run from danger. You should have left hours ago." Adam shook his head. "Maybe humans run, but friends don't." The word friends hung in the air. Kyle closed his eyes, his body trembling, as if the heat inside him didn't know whether to break free or stay locked down. Then it began. The floor vibrated under them, stronger than before. A low rumble filled the apartment, and the glow inside Kyle flared violently. His body arched back, a strangled cry tearing from his throat. "Adam, move!" Kyle's voice was no longer steady. It was layered, monstrous, carrying the sound of something far greater than one man. Adam stayed rooted. "I'm not leaving you." The room exploded with heat. Flames that weren't real flames erupted across the walls, burning without consuming, light without smoke. The air itself shimmered, bending and warping. Kyle rose to his knees, his entire form glowing like a star. His voice thundered, I can't hold Kyle, Adam shouted over the roar, his throat raw. Look at me! But Kyle's eyes were pure fire now. There was no trace of humanity left in them. The floor cracked open beneath him. Windows shattered completely, sending shards flying outward into the storm. The entire building shook as if an earthquake had struck. Kyle roared, a sound so powerful Adam covered his ears, his heart racing with terror, and yet through the chaos, Adam stepped closer. "Fight it," Adam yelled. "You're not a beast, you're Kyle, you're my friend." For a brief second, the glow flickered. Kyle's head jerked toward him, the fire in his eyes shifting like a candle flame fighting wind. But then came the final surge. A blast of energy erupted outward, slamming Adam against the wall so hard he nearly blacked out. Heat seared his skin, every breath burning in his chest. The apartment ceiling cracked, dust raining down. Adam forced himself up, coughing, barely able to see through the blinding light. Kyle hovered now, his body lifted off the ground, the glow expanding until it filled the room. He was no longer a man. He was something ancient, something terrifying. Adam's voice was hoarse, but he screamed anyway. "Kyle, you're still in there! Don't let this power take you!" The light faltered again. For the first time, Kyle's voice broke through, weak, desperate. "Adam, I can't—" "Yes, you can!" Adam shouted, stumbling forward, ignoring the cuts on his arms and the pain in his ribs. "Because you're not alone. I'm here. I won't let you drown in it." The fire cracked around Kyle, lashing out in violent arcs, but Adam kept walking. Step by painful step, he closed the distance. The heat scorched him, his skin blistering, but he didn't stop. When he was only a few feet away, he shouted one last time. "You're not a monster. You're Kyle, and you're stronger than this." Kyle's roar shook the walls. The glow flared brighter, until it seemed certain the entire building would collapse. And then, suddenly, it snapped inward, collapsing like a dying star. The light vanished. The tremors stopped. The silence that followed was deafening. Kyle collapsed to the floor, motionless. Adam dropped beside him, shaking him by the shoulders. "Kyle! Hey, don't you dare die on me now!" For a terrifying moment there was nothing. No movement, no sound. Then Kyle coughed, his chest rising weakly. His eyes opened, no longer glowing, only human. Adam let out a breath he hadn't realized. He was holding. "You nearly scared me to death," Kyle groaned, his voice faint. "You are insane. No one should have survived that." Adam gave a shaky laugh. "Guess I'm just stubborn." Kyle stared at him for a long moment, then closed his eyes again. "I didn't lose control. Not fully. Because you wouldn't let me." Adam leaned back against the ruined wall, exhausted beyond words. "Told you, friends don't run." The storm outside began to fade, the thunder growing distant. The apartment was destroyed, but the danger had passed. As the first light of dawn broke through the shattered windows, Kyle lay silent, his body finally calm. Adam sat beside him, bruised and burned, but alive. For the first time since the night began, he allowed himself to breathe. The cycle was over. The beast was silent, and in the wreckage of that long, terrible night, one truth stood clear. Kyle was not the monster he feared. He was something far rarer. He was human enough to be saved.